Today, I'm transforming this ruined Murkwater house into a fully renovated industrial structure, complete with living space, a powered shower, and a fully automated Contraptions Workshop ammo factory. And I'll show you exactly how to build it, wire it up, and run it step by step with no mods or glitches, and fully buildable on any platform. And definitely stay for the tour at the end. The factory is up and running, but the triggermen are about to find out that all this noise is bound to attract attention. The ground floor will house the utilities, a secure generator room, and a full bathroom. The second floor will house a fully automated ammo factory powered by Contraptions Workshop, complete with a multi-floor conveyor system and a dedicated workstation for quality control inspections. And up top, we have a private living space. Currently, this is assigned to Big Jim, but you'll have to catch the next episode to see how that situation plays out. The previous builds plus all the decorations finally maxed out the settlement size limit, so I'm increasing the limit to keep expanding. However, if you're just renovating this house, it fits comfortably within the standard vanilla limit. For the build, we're using simple snapping. No wire, pillar, or rug glitches are needed to build the structure or the factory. So grab your tools, head over to Murkwater, and let's get started. The first floor will house the settlement's bathroom, along with a dedicated power room in the back to run both the shower and the ammo factory. To get started, place a small floor from either the barn or the warehouse section centered in front of the existing door frame. This floor will elevate the next wall to the correct height. Now slide a warehouse wall in front of the doorway with the inside of the wall facing you. Guide it into position so that it sits close to the doorway and centered between the two side walls. We'll test this placement in just a moment. Snap a half barn or warehouse floor to the top of this wall. Since this floor sits on the outside of the structure, I'm using a barn floor for a more weathered look. From there, snap on a large floor. The remaining floors will be on the interior, so I'm going to use the warehouse floors. Next, add another large floor to the right. Remove the wall from the doorway and snap it to the outer edge of the last floor. If the wall won't snap into place, it's likely colliding with the debris at the base of the structure. This usually means that the original wall wasn't centered or close enough to the door frame. If that happens, remove the floors, reposition the first wall, and try again. Once that's set, place 2 additional large floors to the left of the first interior floor. Along the back, snap 4 half floors. Return to the front and snap 2 warehouse walls to the edge of the floors. On the back, snap 2 warehouse walls onto the center floor sections, leaving the outer corners open for now. Outside facing the house, snap a warehouse foundation under the left corner wall. Continue placing 2 more foundations toward the back, then add a second row to create an elevated platform on this side. It was a little difficult to capture while building, so here's an overview. Now move to the right side of the house. Snap a foundation under the front corner, then place 2 more foundations extending toward the back. And here's a look at this side. Move to the back and snap 4 half floors across the back of the structure. And then snap 4 large warehouse floors. Facing the house, add 3 warehouse walls along the right side. Across the back, snap a wide doorway on the left, followed by 2 warehouse walls. Leave the right corner and side open for now. Before we move on, here's an overview of the wall placement. I've removed the floors so you can clearly see where each wall is located. Along the front edge, we have 3 walls. On the interior back, there are 2 walls. Along the right side, 3 walls, and on the exterior back, there are 2 more walls. Finally, there's a door frame in the right corner. To create the front walkway, snap half floors along the top of the front wall. I'm using barn floors again here for that weathered exterior look. On the corner, add a small floor, then attach a half floor along the side. Finish by stepping stairs to the end of the walkway. We'll return to the first floor to finish the interior a little later in the video. The second floor will house the ammo factory, with a covered porch overlooking the swamp. Moving up to the second floor, start along the back wall. Snap a barn or warehouse wall to the second floor from the left. I'm mixing barn and warehouse walls throughout this build, but feel free to use whichever style you prefer. Continue the row with another wall to the right, and then finish the end with a large doorway frame. On the side wall, snap 2 full walls followed by a doorway. I'm switching to a warehouse doorway here since I'll be using glass and warehouse pieces across the front. Across the front, snap 4 half warehouse walls. Now move to the back corner. Snap a doorway wall perpendicular to the first barn wall that we placed. I'm using greenhouse walls in this corner for a slightly different look. Make sure the doorway is oriented correctly with the inside of the frame facing you. Next, snap a greenhouse wall to the left. Perpendicular to that wall, snap another greenhouse wall, but place it backwards with the inside facing out. This reversed placement will allow us to position the roof correctly later, so make sure it's flipped here. Finish the front by snapping half greenhouse walls above the half warehouse walls. On the side, add a half warehouse wall to the upper portion of the opening, leaving the bottom half open. Across the front, snap sloped roof pieces to create 2 peaks centered over the front. Fill in the open ends with matching gable pieces. Here's a look at the second floor so far. Starting on the inside back corner, place 4 large floors. Above the doorway, snap 2 half floors and a small floor in the corner. Attach stairs to the small floor to create access to the 3rd level. On this floor, we'll create a living space for Big Jim. On this floor, line the side and back with half walls of your choice. Across the front, snap half glass greenhouse walls. Add a roof oriented from front to back, then fill in the open ends with gable pieces to complete the structure. And here's a look at the finished 3rd floor. Next, we'll add a ramp from the scaffolding section to access the warehouse from the back. The scaffolding floors won't snap directly to the floor here, so we'll need to use a barn or warehouse half floor instead. To do this, temporarily remove the lower door frame and snap a half barn or warehouse floor above the opening. Replace the door frame once the floor is in place. Next, snap a small scaffolding floor to the half floor. From there, snap on enough ramp pieces to reach the ground. Once the ramp is in place, you can swap the temporary half floor for a scaffolding floor if you prefer a more uniform look. Now, let's cover the porch outside the second floor. Above the greenhouse wall that we placed backwards earlier, snap a gable piece into place, making sure that the thick upper frame is positioned on the inside of the building. Reversing that wall earlier is what allows this piece to be placed in that configuration here, and will also allow the roof to be snapped on to the other side. Outside, snap a barn or warehouse wall along the back edge of the porch. Add a roof oriented from front to back. Now that the roof is secured, you can reverse the greenhouse wall back to its correct orientation. Finish the porch by removing the wall and snapping railings of your choice around the perimeter. We'll add a support post to this corner a little later. Add barn support posts to the front walkway, the side walkway, and the back ramp. I placed short posts first, then snapped long posts underneath, so all of the supports extend easily and cleanly to the ground. At the open back corner, close off the remaining gap by snapping a warehouse wall and then a small warehouse filler piece perpendicular to the last back wall. Add supports to the upper porch. Snap a barn support post near the back corner of the porch. The upper post won't snap with the floor in place, so remove the floor, snap on the post, and then replace the floor. Add additional posts to the porch as needed. Finish the exterior by snapping railings along the front and side walkways. Let's revisit the first floor to complete the interior and add the bathroom and decontamination shower. First, finish the interior floor by snapping 2 large warehouse floors to the bottom of the back warehouse walls. Add a half floor to the right of the first floor. You may be able to snap another half floor into this space, but if it collides with debris and won't snap in, use a small floor in this area and then try another small floor here. If it won't snap in the remaining gap, leave it open for now and we'll come back to it shortly. For the interior, I'm using concrete walls to repair and reinforce the space. I'll show you how I configured mine, but your layout may vary depending on earlier wall placement, so feel free to substitute pieces as needed. Start by aligning a half concrete wall along the edge of the wooden floor and the warehouse wall. Snap a concrete pillar behind it, then add a large concrete wall and another pillar along the side. Attach a half wall to the front of the pillar, followed by another half wall perpendicular along the entry wall. Use concrete pillars to fill the remaining space toward the doorway, adjusting the height as needed. On the opposite side, snap a warehouse wall to the side of the last back interior wall. Leave the area on the right open for now. Cover the floor opening with a rubber mat if you weren't able to snap in another floor. Next, slide 2 barn outhouse stalls into this space. gap next to the stalls with concrete pillars. Then snap a half wall across the front and a pillar at the end. If the pillar extends too far into the space, remove it and place it closer to the doorway. Fill the remaining gap with additional concrete pillars as needed to create a clean finish. And here's a look at the finished interior. The bathroom will have a decontamination arch which will serve as a shower. The arch requires power, so let's get that set up first. To bring the power into the shower area, we're going to use a wall pass-through conduit. Be sure to use the taller version of the conduit so it aligns properly with the interior wiring. Slide the connector end through the back of the side concrete wall. At the top of the conduit, snap on a single conduit junction. Next, slide the decontamination arch into position. You can sink the base slightly into the foundation to reduce its height and to help it fit cleanly beneath the ceiling. And finally, wire the arch to the power junction. In the rear storage area, place 4 medium generators and wire them together. This will provide 20 power, which is enough to run both the decontamination arch and the ammo factory, which we'll be building next. On the exterior side of the concrete wall, you'll see the exit point of the pass-through conduit. Add a few power connectors along the ceiling and run the wires from the generators to the conduit. Once connected, the arch will be fully powered. A boxcar door is the perfect cover for the shower. Simply slide it against the left concrete wall with the edge of the door slightly behind the metal frame of the wall. When opened, it will slide into the concrete wall. With the door closed, fill the open space to the right of the door with concrete pillars. And here's a look at our completed bathroom. Next, we'll build the ammo factory. Outside the structure, place a conveyor belt lift so that the top exit aligns with the opening in the second floor wall and the bottom entry points towards the back of the building. Also, make sure that you've selected the one with the base that's shown here. Once this is in place, we'll finish the interior connections and then return outside. Back inside on the second floor, center the lift within the wall opening. Attach a conveyor belt with legs to the edge of the lift. It will only snap in one direction. At the end of the belt, attach a builder of your choice. I'm using the ammunition plant for this build. Keep in mind that it requires gun nut 1 and science rank 1 to construct. Attach an L-shaped conveyor belt to the builder, followed by a conveyor storage unit at the end of the line. Now head back outside and attach a vacuum hopper to the base of the lift. The vacuum hopper will automatically extract components from any connected storage container from the furniture menu and feed them to the factory. I'm using a cabinet for my container. We'll go over full operation of the factory in a few moments. Back inside the warehouse, I'm adding a first aid station. The assigned settler stands with a clipboard, which makes it look like we have a quality control inspector overseeing production. The factory also requires a terminal placed anywhere on the same power grid. I'm using the Voltec terminal because I prefer the look. To power the system, wire the terminal to the connector on the builder. There's no need to run a separate wire from the builder to the exterior. It will receive power through the factory network. Outside, I'm adding a switch to power on and off the system if desired. Connect the vacuum hopper directly to the switch and connect the switch to the ceiling connectors we installed earlier. That completes the power circuit for the entire system. To operate the factory, open the terminal connected to the factory power line. Open the ammunition plant control menu and select the type of ammo you'd like to produce. For this demonstration, I'll be manufacturing .45 caliber rounds. The next screen displays the required components. Each round requires 2 units of steel and 1 unit of fertilizer. These materials can come from junk items or from raw components added directly to the system. Components can be added to any of the following locations: the storage container, the vacuum hopper, or directly into the builder if you're in a hurry. To demonstrate the full automated process, I'll place my junk items into the storage container. You can add only the specific components required, or you can deposit all of your junk into the container as I'm doing here. Later, I'll show you where the unused materials are stored. Once the junk is deposited, the vacuum hopper extracts the items from the container and feeds them into the conveyor lift. From there, the materials are transported up to the builder. Junk items are identified as their individual components and stored internally until enough materials are available to produce the selected ammunition. When the required quantity is reached, the builder begins manufacturing. Finished rounds travel down the conveyor line and are deposited into the conveyor storage at the end of the system. Unused items remain in the builder and can be removed or left there for storage. Before we finish work on the factory, here's a quick decorating tip. If you drop at least 2 rounds of most ammunition types, they'll appear as small boxed ammo containers that you can use to decorate your settlement. And if you drop at least 2 rounds of 5mm ammo, it will drop in the form of a small metal ammo container, similar to the larger containers that are found throughout the Commonwealth. It's a simple way to add some realistic detail to an ammo factory or a weapon shop. Now that we've finished building, let's take a look at the exterior. From the front, the once ruined house has been transformed into a 3-story structure. The glass walls on the upper floor bring in much needed light, especially in Murkwater's usual fog, although today we've been lucky with the sun. The original front door still remains, now serving as the entrance to the settlement's bathroom. Along the side, a staircase leads up to the factory entrance. Around back, the lower level houses the generator room, while a ramp from the factory allows shipments to move out efficiently. On the opposite side, an intake line feeds materials directly into the assembly line, while above, the covered porch offers a quiet place to look out over the swamp. From the outside, the renovation looks clean and efficient. But the triggermen are about to find out this factory is just the beginning of their problems. The fog doesn't hide Murkwater anymore. Now, it advertises it. The ammo plant came together faster than anyone expected. Loud, crude, unmistakable. Day and night, the steady rhythm of machinery echoed through the swamp, turning raw scrap into bullets, and bullets into caps. A lot of caps. Big Jim was pleased. Very pleased. He moved upstairs above the factory floor, where the noise softened and the air stayed dry. From the upper level, he looked down on the operation like a king surveying his kingdom. Clean sheets, real furniture, fresh food delivered on schedule. His pipe wrench rested close by, but it was rarely needed to speak for him anymore. However, the crew noticed. They were still sleeping in their bunkhouses, wrapped in thin sleeping bags that did nothing to keep out the cold of the swamp. Tempers stayed hot and morale sank fast. The factory brought opportunity, but risked unwanted attention. So the deals were made far from Murkwater. Black market trade routes stretched across the Commonwealth. Deals were made in the flooded streets of Hyde Park and the back alleys of the Quincy ruins, far from the fog and far from prying eyes. Some buyers tried to short the deal, others tried intimidation. A few tried stealing outright. Every encounter left the triggermen more worn down. They weren't running the operation anymore. They were surviving it. And Big Jim? Big Jim just smiled. One night, something changed. A guard swore he saw movement beyond the fog. It wasn't a raider or a gunner. Someone watching, but lost in the fog before he could line up a shot. Unseen eyes at the edge of the operation, studying routes, counting guards, listening to the steady rhythm of the plant. Murkwater had grown loud, and nothing loud stays hidden for long. Big Jim slept well that night. The crew did not, because out in the mist, they knew someone was putting the pieces together. Make sure you catch the next and final episode of this series, where we'll lock down the defenses with a new guard station and finally clean up that swamp with a full water purification system. If you missed any of the earlier episodes, I've put together a full playlist here so you can see how this renovation came together. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to building with you next time.